Hello. Hello. Let's get set up now, please. Want to hello all and welcome to the Canadian Learner League race today on Sunday the 14th. Hopefully it will be an exciting and eventful race for everyone, including myself, to watch. This track's made up of 14 corners, a very cornerless map. Hopefully we will see some exciting battles for the lead and see some very good championship points for all. It's got Philip Marshall out on the softs now, along with Rentbo's on mediums, so is SFR Sonic. Marks Mallows on softs on their outlap. Bondivine's still in the pit, just coming out of it now into skipping the turn one. Villamat on his outlap on soft tyres, racing for the Haas team today. Sanath just coming out of the pits now. Once again, another driver on a pair of softs. Luke 14 is on a pair of mediums in the Renault today. Did a bit of a disappointing race last time. I believe he DNF'd in Hungary. And Durant's already retired from the session. We give him a round of applause, lads. We give him a round of applause. A very early retirement. We often see these. So I believe we've got a few cars now on their flyers. Philip Marshall, one of the first people to go over the line, besides Rentbo. So we'll see what sort of lap the medium car drivers are setting. As now they're coming up to turns 10 and 11. 11, I wouldn't really count it as a turn, but it is there. The short little turn to the left on the exit of the hairpin. And 12 as well, and the short little meander to the right. As they're coming up to the Wall of Champions now, what are they going to set? Coming through now, the final drive, shortest run to the line, and they set a 1:10.3. Not the fastest lap in the world, but a very good starting lap for everyone to judge their times off. Philip Marshall on soft sets a 1:11.5. Georgios Galano, a little bit slow. Looks like they've got an invalidated lap. And Villamat on softs at 1:14.0. Everyone a couple of seconds off the leader, who did set on the medium compound tyres. Atmos, 8 tenths slower than Rentbo on the pair of mediums as well. In the Ferrari today, looks like he purpled sector 3 even. 3 drivers still in the pits. 4 drivers even. Didn't realize. Oh, Shade Mab's on his outlap now. Shade Mab's on his outlap. OWR coming into turns 8 and 9. Up towards turn 10. DRS zone coming up. Just behind Villamat now. Maybe giving him a little bit of a tow along the straight turns 10, 11, 11 and 12 even. And the DRS is now activated. Will OWR Art Vandelay get a good lap in? Using the tow, he sets a 1:11.5. And Duran now wondering why he can't race. Give him a little bit of an answer. He did retire early on in the race. So currently I have Rentbo in P1, Atmos in P2, 4/10 slower than P1. Both of those laps done on mediums. Third place Sanath with a 1:11.3 on soft tyres. Probably on his in-lap right now. Doesn't really have lots of ERS. Philip Marshall in fourth. Just coming out of the pits now on a fresh pair of softs. I think. That might be the other... No, that is Philip Marshall coming out on the fresh pair of softs. OWR, 5th place at 1:11.5. Around 1.2 seconds slower than P1 at this moment in time. Looks like they're coming into the pits now. Ross P maybe coming into the pits, not much ERS left. And yes, going into the pits, a lot of drivers going into the pits now after second laps. Bilton Matt IRC sets a 1:9.6, 3/10 quicker than Dark L 066. Both the top two drivers now have set their laps on soft tyres. Very fast indeed today, the paces. Just on board with Bilton Matt. Most likely going to see him coming into the pits. He's on the DRS on the straight on sector 2. Dark doesn't happen to go any faster. Very consistent lap time though. 0.001 seconds slower than last time. Marks Mallow, he puts it P3 at the moment. Doesn't look like he's on a flyer. And if he is, he had a very bad exit out of 6 and 7. Looks very slow through there. Suspect he'll be going into the pits, looking at the fuel as well, flashing red. So we've had about 4 drivers who haven't set laps at all yet. Shade Maps puts it P10 on the mediums, a very good time, a 1:12.0. Although lots of room for improvement for these drivers a bit lower down. Two viewers at the moment. Vishesh Kali, very good line out of 8 and 9. Coming into turn 10 now, very lovely hairpin. Quite notorious for its tightness and the amount of dive bomb people do. Might be on another flyer. Will he go faster now than 1:12.5? Not sure how much far he's up on his lap time. He goes a 1:11.6, puts him in P10, drops Shade Mabs and Ross P down into 11 and 12. Ross P a little bit of purple in sector 2. Quite possibly going to go quicker than he has done already. Getting a little bit of a toe on the other Williams driver. A very good wall of champions indeed, coming across the line with a 1:10.7, putting him into P7. Marks Mallow in P4 now. Bilton Matt currently out on a pair of mediums. Just about to start their flyer with a lot of ERS to burn. So Bilton Matt currently 3/10 quicker than his teammate who is in the Alpha. I believe it's his teammate in the Alpha. Rempo P3. Billy Williams, Marshmello even. P4 on the Mercedes on his outlap currently. Got the store of ERS now as we come into the start of the flyer through Wall of Champions. ERS activated, DRS activated, car starting the flyer now. Lovely line in turn 1 and in turn 2. Yellow flags in section 1. Excuse me. Sector 1 time of 19.3, 2 tenths quicker than he was earlier. Von der Vine pulling along to the side as the good driver should. Bilton Matt sets new purple on the mediums at 19.3, a very fast driver today to look out for. Most likely going to be racking up a lot of points if you're going to get out of the way of the carnage in turn 1. Marshmello now coming to turn 10, 11 and 12 before the DRS activation point. DRS activated now. And into the Wall of Champions, turn 13 and 14. Along the straight now, shortest run to the line. And over he goes, puts in P3, a 109.7. Very strong driver in the championships as well, I believe. However, he did have a little bit of an unlucky race in Hungary, binning it on the, I believe it was last lap, second to last lap, which is always disappointing, really. So the standings at the moment: McLaren, Bilton Matt even. Currently P1 today. He's got a total of 133 points, which puts him in top of the drivers. We've also got some lower down drivers. Luke 14 not got a single point at the moment, which is a shame. As he invalidates his lap there. But the likes of Sonic Hawk 93, who is in the Ferrari, and Marshmello in the Mercedes, not too far behind on the championship. So currently 4 minutes 20 seconds left in the session. We have Bilton Matt in P1 on a pair of mediums, very fast today. Dark L066 P2, 2 tenths slower than P1 today. Atmos in P3, Marshmello in P4, Rentbo P5, Louis Ferrand is in P6, Sanath in P7, Philip in P8, OWR P9 and Ross P in P10. However, we'll probably see a lot of drivers go out onto the track in the next couple of minutes to set their final flyers of the race. Currently in P18 we have Georgios Galano on a pair of mediums at the moment, going very wide into turn 10 through turn 11 and turn 12. DRS activated. Going to be zooming down the straight. Not sure, I believe he is on a flyer. I'm sorry, I'm very tired today. Very good line through Wall of Champions as well. Will he take the shortest run to the line? I believe he does. Where will this put him? Looks like a very fast lap. Puts him into P15. He goes up 3 places, dropping Luke 14. Luis Coel and Villamat down a place each. Shade Rab's currently on his outlap in the Racing Point. Currently in 9th in the championships. Did he pick up points in Hungary? He did. He picked up 4 points in Hungary, which is very good. Excuse me. It's pretty much all drivers now currently on their outlaps, if not on their final flyers of the race. Good to see quite a full lobby today, only missing one possible driver, which would have been me. But I decided to do comms because I am a lovely man. Bondavine just letting his teammate Sanaf through. Sanaf doesn't want to go through though by the looks of it. And Izzy now holding up the Mercedes of Marshmello. Ooh. Marshmello going very wide. I keep calling him Marshmello. I'm gonna lose my job. Marshmello. Atmos currently in P3. Looks like they're on a flyer at the moment in the Ferrari today. Currently in 13th in the Drivers' Championship. If we have a look over at the constructors, see that McLaren are in first with Chris 25D and Bilton Matt, followed by the Ferrari, Sonic Hawk 93 and Atmos, and then the Mercedes of Marks Mello and OWI. It's very tight between second and third in the constructors. Although note to people doing the scoreboard, you've got it as Ferrari in P3 when they're quite obviously in P2, so you might want to sort that one out. So qualifying's over 2 minutes 30 left at maximum in this session. Marshmallow sticks at P1 with a 108.9, a very late entry onto the times, but a very good entry nonetheless. Bilton Matt currently P2, just going into the pits now, no need for him to set another lap. Dark L coming across the line now. Going to set. Oh, he went 8 seconds slower even. And just the final drivers coming into the pits now. So Marks Mallow in P1, Bilton Matt P2, Dark L in P3. Very good performance for the Alpha drivers today. Atmos P4, Renfo P5, Luis Ferrand P6, Sonic Hawk P7, Sana P8, Art Vanderlei P9, Philip Marshall P10, Ross P in P11, Vishesh Kali P12, and I didn't see the rest because it disappeared. So overall, the Alpha drivers had a very good performance today. Marks Mallow almost going 3/10 quicker than Bilton Matt, who was on the mediums though, so we could be seeing a different strategy to the others from Bilton Matt and from Shade Mabs, also on mediums, and Luke 14, Luis and Georgios, hoping all to not see a safety car after turn 1. Duran not saying the time after getting what's the word? Retirement. Sanaf saying first corner, be careful guys. We do love to see a little bit of fighting into turn 1, but nothing silly obviously. No juicy T-burns just yet. I have a very strong feeling we will see a safety car in turn 1. If not turns 2 and 3. I think this. Well, the race start was a little, boring because it didn't tell me the race was starting. So here we go, here in Canada, lap 1. Georgios picking up a 5-second penalty very early on for a collision with Sonic Hawk, who gained 2 places. Bilton Matt even dropping down 2 positions into P4, being overtaken by Rentbo, and who's gained 2 positions, and Dark, who has gained 1 position. Marks Mello still in the lead though, gaining a nice 1.2 second gap already on the first lap of the race. Luke 14 dropping down 1 position, Ross P dropping down 8 positions. Looks like they had a very bad start to the race. Duran goes up 8 positions. Looks like they might have done a little bit of a dive bomb into turn 1. We spectate Atmos now, OWR and Philip Marshall in the contention for 5th place. Now very tight between all 3 of them. The Ferrari right on the tail of the Mercedes of Art Vanderlei now. Sticks behind them into the wall of champions. Marks Mello sets the first lap of the race with 1:16.281, a very fast lap indeed for the first lap of the race. Luis Ferdinand now dropped down 3 positions now into P9, closely followed by Georges Galano, who has gone up already 5 positions now on the first lap. A very strong start from him indeed, putting himself in the points from P15. But he is on them softer compound of tyres. We'll be seeing them wear out pretty quickly. Duran, 8 positions already gained. P11 now 1 position off the points. Swiftly catching to the back of Georges. Looking for the move now into turn 6 and 7. Right on the back of the Haas in front of him. Shade Mabs in P12. Gained the position where, stayed. I don't know what the thing's telling me. Vishesh Kali picks up a penalty down in P15, another 5-seconder for corner cutting. Luis Coel takes an interesting line through there. Marks Mello already 2.1 seconds ahead. Looks like Dark Hell is really dropping off a bit as they are battling behind them. Bilton Matt pulls out to the side into Wall of Champions, but doesn't see the option for the move and stays behind both the drivers in front of him. Marks Mello sets the the new fastest lap of the race, and then Bilton Matt takes it right off him on the pair of medium tyres at 12.743. A very fast lap indeed for their medium tyres early on in the race. start to see the lap times all slow down a bit. Medium tyres probably going to stay more prime than the soft tyres for quite a while into the race, as Rentbo's just staying underneath a second behind Dark L, and Bilton Matt is right on the back of them. Atmos very closely following Art van der Lee in P5 and 6. Already gained a little bit of a gap to Philip Marshall, who's in P7, already gained 3 positions, and we see Duran in P9, already gaining P10 positions, starting in P19 today. A very strong race from him indeed, and it looks like we've already had a Haas go into the pits. Luis Coel goes off the track there, and Ross P takes the position off them. Still 3 cars in the battle for second. Luke 14 on the back of Villa Matt now, as we come, I believe he has DRS as well. Just turn this on. DRS enabled, and he makes the move into Wall of Champions. It's a brilliant move. He doesn't pick up a 5 second for corner turn. He pulls away with it. He's now in P17. Now just needs to catch on to the back of Luis, and he had the DRS for the home straight as well. Shade Mabs catching onto the back of Sonic Hawk, who's catching onto the back of Durant. Georgios picks up a 3 seconder from multiple warnings. We didn't see a safety car on lap 1, which is a surprise. It is a surprise. Shade Mabs just dropping a little bit off the back of Sonic Hawk now into turns 8 and 9. Coming to the start of sector 3. Atmos just 3 tenths behind OWR. Art van der Lee, as we might see the move on the straight. He's got the speed to do it. Dark L picks up a 3 seconder for corner cutting. Not very good for him at all, considering he's one of the front runners of the race. Atmos comes away with the move. Brilliant into turn 1. A Wall of Champions. Oh, for God's sake, I'm gonna lose my job. Bilton Matt now just a 10th behind Rentbo. Looks like Rentbo is holding them up and letting Bilton Matt's teammate get away, sort of make a gap between Bilton. Although Rentbo is being very defensive, but Bilton Matt now with the DRS down the straight after turn 7 and coming into turn 8. But he doesn't have the speed. Maybe going to make a move on the one of the final straights of the race before the Wall of Champions. So we're coming into the hairpin now. A little bit of a gap on the inside there, but Bilton Matt doesn't take it. Would have been very silly of him to do so. He has the DRS down the straight now. Will we see the move? Lots of ERS stored up to go for it. He goes down the inside. It's a beautiful move into Wall of Champions. He comes off into the position in P3 now on that medium set of tyres. So, you know, Luke 14 on the pair of hards to start with, obviously with the free choice of tyres starting our outside of the P10. A very interesting strategy indeed, and we see someone else going to the pits by the looks of it. Yeah, OWR coming into the pits now. Did he pick up damage from something, or is he just boxing? Maybe serving a penalty he picked up earlier in the race. And we see another driver going to the pits, Sanath now, going into the pits onto a pair of mediums, from mediums to mediums, probably going for a 2-stop strategy today. As we see them coming out in P17 and P18, some very early pit stops indeed. And Georgios is quite far back from the pack though. Lots of work for him to do on this pair of softs. To go back to the leader, Marks Mello picking 2 seconds in front of P2 of Dark L. And Shade Maps picked up another 3-second time penalty. This is not very good for his race at all, and it looks like he's dropped the position to Vishesh, and another one to Bondivine. But does he go for the switchback? He goes through, but he doesn't put it off. Bondivine now coming in P8, and it looks like Shade Maps doesn't have DRS down the straight today. Going too wide into Wall of Champions. Shade Maps going straight on into the pits. Well, give him a little bit of a spectate and see what cars he goes on. Philip Marshall picks up a 5 second for speeding in the pit lane. Very early box really for Shade Mabs onto a pair of softs. I believe he went on a pair of mediums, but the tyres there show otherwise. I'll have a little bit of a check on the race director. So Shade Mabs going from a pair of mediums to a pair of softs. A little bit angry with the some of the moves I believe he had been involved in. Some collisions maybe, in fact. Bilton, Marks Mello even extending the gap to 2.8 seconds now, as Bilton Matt catches onto the back of his teammate in the Alfa Romeo. A very strong partnership these two are, and Marks Mello goes into the pits on his pair of mediums, onto a pair of mediums in fact, only coming out in around P5, P6 sort of area. Obviously he doesn't have to do the turn 1 that everyone else would have to do. Oh, excuse me. And now we'll watch the battle for first between the two teammates. Obviously we don't want to see anything silly from either of the Alfa Romeo drivers as we come onto the straight after turn 7. Looks like Bilton's just been storing up the ERS to use on the straight. Georgia's picked up another 3 seconds from multiple warnings down in P18, not having the best of races himself today. Bilton with the DRS down the straight didn't have the best of exits compared to his teammate ahead of him, but he looks to be catching. Looking down the inside now, it doesn't see the move and slots in behind. Dark goes straight on into the pits, and Bilton Matt picked up a 3 seconder. Lots of penalties today now, considering it is a very what's it called, easy track to pick up the penalties on. Bilton Matt with a couple seconds ahead of him. Marks Mello comes out of the looks like his undercut has worked. Oh, I'm using all the wrong vocabulary because I'm tired. You should know that, right? With 4 seconds to the car behind him, obviously extending on these fresh pair of mediums, and Dark KL picks up another 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Dark could have dropped behind because of penalties he had served in the pits. We saw he picked up some penalties before he went in there. Marks Mello just 12 seconds behind the race leader, Bilton Matt, who is doing very well in these standings for both drivers and constructors. Oh yes, because Bilton Matt is meant to be on a different team. I apologise, Bilton Matt is technically racing for McLaren today, and I believe Vishesh unintentionally picked the wrong car for the race. He should be in the Alfa Romeo, covering for Adam. And Marks Mello, if he beats Sonic Hawk today, could get a little bit of an advantage over him on points. If we're looking at a P1, P2 today, he's a very strong driver. I remember watching his race in Austria, I believe it was. He raced very well. Main contender in that race was, in fact, Tommy 1810 something or other. Louise now picks up a 5 seconder for speeding in the pit lane. Lots of penalties today. A very penalty-filled race. Atmos picks up a 3 seconder for multiple warnings. Marks Mello just narrowing the gap down on Bilton on these fresh pair of mediums as Bilton comes out of turn 11 and 12. Maybe we might see him pit this lap, 9 lap over the mediums, maybe going for a one-stop strategy if he can hold these tyres out. As we see him go into Wall of Champions and not going through the pit lane. Marks Mello now extending on Dark L066 as he now comes out of turns 12. Going into Wall of Champions turns 13 and 14, and then along the straight, the 2 grandstands there on the right hand side as he goes past. Marks Mello sets the fastest lap, and Louise picks up another little penalty. Not very good from all these incidents. If we go have a race director, have a look, we've picked up lots of incidents, lots of warnings. Georgia's picked up the first 5-second penalty for a collision with Sonic Hawk. If we move down, we start to see a lot more warnings and a lot more penalties than we'd normally like to see. However, this always makes the race very interesting at the end, as we see drivers come over in the line and beat people we didn't think they would because of penalties. Dark now coming into turns 8 and 9, 6 seconds behind Marks Mello now. Will we see Bilton go into the pits this lap? No, we don't. He stays out for another lap on these 10-lap-old mediums. Very interesting strategies indeed we are seeing today. Marks Mello now coming through the wall of champions, turn 13 and 14, as we don't really know them. Coming across the line, 0.078 seconds slower than his fastest lap, which is 1:12.709. Bilton and Matt just a couple hundredths of a second slower than him. Those two being the clearer of the top drivers in today's race. Rentbo claims they've ruined their race, boxing onto hards till the end. Durant picks up another 3 seconds. We're going to have to see a lot of cars box again. I believe the hard compound tyres Rentbo's gone onto will last till the end. And Sanath in front of her pulls a quite defensive move as they come out the pit lane. Georges gets a 5-seconder again for speeding in the pit lane. He looks like he's got lots of penalties. Luke 14 going on to a pair of softs. Probably seen him box once more in the race. Maybe for another pair of softs. Maybe for another pair of mediums. And Bilton Matt goes into the pits now. We'll see how far ahead of how far behind Marks Mello he comes out, boxing onto a pair of whatevers, because they change halfway through apparently. Box onto a pair of mediums. Probably won't see him go to the end, go medium, soft, a 2-stop strategy like many others today, as he comes out behind the Haas of Georges, and Sanath leaves the session, I presume a lag out. Bilton Matt getting jumped by his teammate Dark Hell. Luke 14 picks up another 3-second time penalty. Both of them quite far behind the race leader of Marks Mello. 7 seconds, in fact. Looks like Marks Mello could have this in the bag for the win. However, only time will tell. Obviously, we cannot put the safety car out of the question. Vishesh Carly picks up another 3-seconder for multiple warnings as Bilton Matt comes onto the end of his teammate into the hairpin of turn 10. Looking for the DRS now on the straight as we go through turns 11 and 12 now. DRS in 100 meters. DRS activated now. On the straight, he's got the speed. He's going to take the position. Dark moves across to the right hand side for a defensive move, but it doesn't look like it's on as Bilton accelerates much faster. Sanath rejoins now. Quite unknown to whether Sanath is in the AI or not, if they've been able to rejoin their car. It looks like they've proper disconnected though. It looks like the AI will be racing the rest of the race for Sanath. A shame really, he put himself in a quite decent position to get some decent points. Rentbo and PA obviously not probably going to be boxing again. Could see a very good points from them. Bondivine P9 on these fresh medium tyres, hoping to see some fast lap from him today. Currently in P14 in the drivers, 10 points in total. Only 2 drivers, one of them not on the grid today, the other one Luke 14. We just haven't picked up any points in the overall races, which is a shame really. It is a shame because we like to see the lower end of drivers with their surprise victories, but we haven't seen it so far yet in the season for the Lerner Racing Club. Looking back at the constructors again, McLaren almost 40 points ahead of the Ferrari. looks like Sonic Hawk has been slightly leading the Ferrari team now, with Atmos not picking up very many points at all in the previous races, although it looks like they didn't join the team for quite a while. Bilton Matt now just 6 seconds behind Marks Mello. Marks Mello's soft tyres just a little bit slower, medium tyres even just a little bit slower than they are. And Bilton's fresh ones. Probably going to see another stop onto mediums later on in the race. Luke 14 in front of him, the ghosting car, a little bit of an abstract line there through turn 10. And Marks Mello picks up some DRS off Luke 14. Obviously being a lapped car, ghosting on. It's a very nice way of going through a car, just straight through him. Quite realistic. So just 4 cars have been lapped so far in the race. So we've got a couple drivers who may be going for hards till the end, as we're coming up to the halfway point of the race. Marks Mello leading it by just over 6 seconds, and Dark behind Bilton and Matt, who is just 4 seconds off, 10 seconds off the race leader. Atmos then 9 seconds behind Dark in P4. It looks like Vishesh has just been overtaken by SFR Sonic Hawk, but he may be going for a move into Wall of Champions, turn 13 and 14, where he looks for it but he doesn't find it, and Sonic Hawk goes straight ahead into the pits. We'll give him a watch and see what tyre compound he goes on to, but Philip Marshall also coming out in front of him. Georges Galano retires from the session. We see a virtual safety car. SFR Sonic Hawk picks up a very nice pit stop there. Obviously going on to the soft compound of tyres under the VSC is going to give him a little bit of an advantage, as the other cars have to slow down slightly. Will he come out ahead of the Mercedes, just a couple of meters in front? I believe that is the Mercedes of Mark Mello, as Sonic Hawk gets lapped. So Rentbo just 0.3 seconds behind Shade Maps now, who's in P7. Could see a new battle for P7 start to form. Lap 17 of the race, and the first VSC. Sonic Hawk picks up another 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Lots of time penalties, lots of interesting moments. Shade Maps goes into the pits. What's he going to go on to? OWR also goes on into the pits. Shade Maps going on to the hard compound of tyres and the wing change for the car 69, the Racing Point. Probably going to be coming out of the pits in P12, just behind Philip Marshall, who I believe has been lapped. I'll double check on that one for you. No, they haven't been lapped. Just yet. The last car to be lapped was Luke 14 Knock, who we did watch that happen on turn 10. Currently just 5 places outside of the points. Putting lots of stress on his engine though, by the looks of it, with the gear changes. Built in Matt now just 4.3 seconds behind Marks Mello. Obviously picking up a lot of DRS off the back runners here, as he overtakes them, lapping them. Oh, so tired. Renault not having the best season at this moment in time. Only 3 points in the constructors, bottom of the constructors. A couple of points to be picked up today would do them lots of good. See the gap now just come underneath 3 seconds. It looks like he's just lapped another car. It looks like the car's SFR Sonic Hawk. And it looks like Marshmello is going to lap another car at Racing Point this time. Bilton Matt, the gap's now just under 2 seconds. A very interesting race by the sounds of it. Although I don't think I've seen Bilton Matt pick up that many penalties during the race. The question is, when will Marshmello box onto the next pair of mediums or softs? Will he last these pair of mediums out to lap 15? Will we see the softs go on then for around 11 laps, or will he stay on the mediums just for a little while longer before going on to another pair of mediums just for around about 11 laps? Bilton Matt now 1.4 seconds behind him, obviously with the slipstream. And Sonic Hawk retires from the session. He was in P15 and he retires. Obviously we're seeing a yellow flag in sector 3, although by the looks of it we're not going to be needing a safety car. He might have put it in the pits and retired it, I didn't see. I hope I'm not boring you with my yawns. So the gap now less than a second for the race lead. Bilton Matt on the fresher medium tyres, 5 laps fresher to be precise. He's going to have DRS down the straight after we go through turns 11 and 12. Will we see a move into Hall of Champions? He looks quite far behind, slots in behind for the slipstream. Most likely just reducing the gap to Marshmello. In front of him now to just over half a second. Louise Cole picks up another 3 seconds from multiple warnings. We are going to see a very interesting final result because of these penalties picked up. Bilton Matt now 0.5 seconds behind Marshmello in 2 turns. 6 and 7 we go now. Coming up to the chicane of 8 and 9. Bilton Matt with the DRS probably not going to be able to make a move now, with Marshmello looking like they have little to none downforce on the car as he zooms away, keeping the position. Probably going to see Bilton Matt going onto a pair of softs at the end. I believe they started on the medium tyres. However, Marshmello, will we see him go on the on the softs or on the mediums? Currently just lasting his tyres out. Sanath picks up another penalty for multiple warnings. Are they racing again? I believe they took a bit of a weird line through there. I believe we are unsure of whether they are racing again or not. Whether it is still the AI. It looks like it was them though, looking at the line into turn 1. Woo. And Marshmello goes into the pits along with Dark. They've come on to a pair of mediums to the end. Softs probably would have lasted but be very worn by the end of the race. Still not a proper safety car though, a very clean race for once. We don't often see this at all. Luis Ferrand goes into the pits as well onto a fresh pair of mediums. And the back runners 17th and 16th also just coming out of the pits. Along with Luke 14, not currently in P14, P15 even. You know, hoping for some points today. It looks like it may be out of reach though. Vishesh picks up another 3-second time penalty. Looks like the battle for 10th could be won on penalties. Shane Rabs maybe, hopefully, picking up points for the Racing Point. And Bilton Matt now coming into the pits. A lap later than Marshmello, but they box onto a pair of softs. Obviously not that much different in the times. Marshmello takes the lead of the race. How much of a gap will he have? Obviously, Bilton Matt not really doing turn 1 very well, goes straight ahead because that is how the pits work. And he is 3 seconds behind Marks Mello. Marks Mello picks up 3 seconds of multiple warnings, but we already know Bilton Matt has penalties as well. How many of these penalties we don't know, because I cannot really be bothered to count, is the honest answer. Only 12 laps left of the race now. Bilton Matt on the soft tyres, hope to catch to the race leader, which is Marks Mello, leading the race again. Could we see a similar scene to Hungary of Marks Mello retiring on the last lap? We hope not. We hope not. Rentbow picks up another 3-second penalty. Lots of penalties today, as I've mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Lots of penalties indeed, as we come on to the final 12 laps of the race. About 6 or I can't count, six lap cars at the moment. So very disappointing. And it looks like we have a new 7th place as OWR overtakes Bondivine. Looked like that was on the straight before 13 and 14, the lovely little chicane. As they come down the straight now, Bondivine looks like they're out of DRS. Atmos picks up a 3-second for multiple warnings. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of penalties today. The race could be won due to penalties. Bilton Matt picks up another 3-second for multiple warnings. We are seeing the penalties start to rack up with the race leaders and the cars further down. Bondivine goes into the pits now. Will we see a wing change? We shall. A wing change it is. Could they have got damage when OWR went for the overtake? Louise Coel in P16 picks up another penalty. And Bilton Matt just slowly catching up to Marks Mello, who is the race leader at the moment. 1.3 seconds behind at the start of lap 25. Bilton Matt purples with a 1:11.3. 1:11.3. 1.2 seconds now after turns 1 and 2, coming into turns 3 and 4 and 5. The small, subtle right-hander laughing Bondivine here. Sonic Hawk leaves the session. He was a DNF'd car. And Rentbow picks up another 3-seconder. Almost 10 seconds in front of OWR. We probably won't see that. Bilton Matt now, less than a second. He's going to have DRS down the straight on Marks Mello. He's going to be on the softer compound of tyres as well. Going to have a lot more speed down the straight, unless Marks Mello has got a lot less downforce than himself. He doesn't find the move into Wall of Champions, but DRS again down the final straight of the race as we come on to lap 26. Bilton Matt going once again faster than he has already, almost 1.5 tenths faster. Just 0.4 seconds behind Marks Mello now. Obviously having to brake a lot earlier than Marks Mello because obviously he will hit into the back of the car. So maybe not going as fast as he would be liking to on these softs to extend, obviously with them penalties he's picked up. Lots of ERS though. Marks Mello also with quite a lot of ERS. Dark though in P3, sort of a little less ERS than he probably would have hoped than these front two runners have, but losing out a lot of time. His teammate though, who is technically a McLaren driver though, can we keep that in mind? So his teammate is not an Alfa driver, his teammate is a McLaren driver. And Vishesh Kali is in the Alfa, hoping to pick up some points today on them 17 lap old hards. He will be going to the end, and Bilton makes a move into Wall of Champions, and he's pulled it off. He comes out in P1, hoping now to extend 3 seconds at least to Marks Mello in front. I know that they both have Bilton has at least 2 and Marks has at least 1. Marks Mello just hoping to stay within DRS to stay with him and not let that happen. 8 laps to go of the race, and it could come down to penalties. I think it will come down to penalties. Over to you, Jeff.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it'll come down to penalties. Bill Matt picked up a lot of penalties, and Mark Melo has as well, along with a lot of the other drivers in the race.
Thanks, Jeff. Coming up to Shane Mabs now, another lapped driver. Mark Mello just gonna pick up DRS off Shane Mabs or Bilton, all within range, and Shane Mabs missed the braking zone. He's in P10 currently, but he really did miss the braking zone there. Mark Mello with the DRS, catching up to Bilton in front of him, but not that much faster. Not that much of a catch, only a tenth if that, with DRS. And Bilton Matt picks up another 3-seconder. I believe Mark Mello is currently in a net P1 with the penalties Bilton has picked up. Durant's now being lapped by the race leader Bilton, and Mark Mello is still in DRS of both of the drivers ahead of him. Blue flags, and Dark picks up a 3-seconder in P3 there. Lots of penalties for these drivers in the race today. Maybe even a race where you go slightly slower and didn't pick up any penalties could have seen you winning the race today. Mark Mello still in the DRS range. Dark leaves the session in P3. Was that lag or was that not lag? We don't know. We don't know. Mark Mello now only 4 tenths behind Bilton in front of him, who is racing for the McLaren. I must make that clear. He is racing for the McLaren. Mark Bilton is. He didn't have his car selection at the start of the race.
Coming into the last 6-7 laps of the race now.
Shane Mabs gone into the pits for fresh pair of softs, hoping to make up the ground he lost while in the pits. May have lost himself out on points now, but obviously going to be having nicer cars. Luke picked up a 3-seconder down in P14. It looks like both Renaults are going to be out of the points with the 15-13 second gap to Shane Mabs. Like now, Shane Mabs, who's coming through turns 6 and 7. Oh, sorry, apologies. Shane Mabs has the 15-second gap to P11 Sanath. As we go back to watch the race lead, we'll watch from the lovely TV view as they come into turns 1 and 2 for the 30th time in this race. Mark Mello just 4 tenths behind. Just a tenth behind Bilton now. Obviously can't copyright music, so we make our own. Mark Mello just 4 tenths behind now. With DRS on the straight, could we see a move into turn 1? No, we cannot. And why is that? Because he is too far behind, but he does stay within the DRS zone at the moment in time. Not really seeing an extension from Bilton on these soft tyres, which are going to get very worn in the next 4 laps. Going to be a lot quite slow. And there's a yellow flag in sector 2, and it is Ross. Ross has come off the track. And I believe he's now been lapped for the second time. Definitely got over. Oh no, he didn't get lapped. He got overtaken by Art Vandelay. I think he's going to pull off to the side and retire. And he does. He retires from the session. Although, because the AI is silly, it looks like we may have a bit of rain coming down on the track now. This could spice things up a bit. Rain beginning to fall. Marcus Melo making a move into turn 1 on the inside, but doesn't make the move pay off, and Bilton stays ahead, but with a lot less ERS than he would have hoped. Rain for the final 4 laps of the race is going to make the race very interesting. Marcus Melo picked up a 3-seconder for corner cutting. Not what he wanted at all, but it's what he's got. He's going to have to deal with it and make it work. DRS now down the straight after turn 7 into turns 8 and 9. Marcus Melo on the inside and makes the move and makes it stick. Bilton Matt's soft tyres maybe starting to give in now, but it looks like Bilton's going to have the DRS down this straight
After turns 11 and 12.
Redbone P6, Art Vandelay P7, Durant P8, Bondavine P9, and Sanath P10. The Red Bulls picking up some points today. Hopefully gonna give them a bit more of a gap to the Toro Rossos in the constructors, but Luis Ferrand is doing quite well today, and his points will outscore their points on its own. Should have got myself a drink before I started. Bilton Matt already gained a second on Marcus Melo, even already gained a second and a half on Bilton Matt, the faster driver of the two. Visesh coming onto a fresh pair of softs, a lap old softs. I didn't see that one. And Philip Marshall goes into the pits. Are we going to see a pair of Inters go on? Is it worth it? Villa Matt retiring from the session now. So we see a Renault go on to a pair of Inters. I don't think it's time for Inters. Do you, Jeff?
No, it's a little bit early for Inters. We may see them sliding around the track and getting them heated for either.
Renbo picks up a 10-seconder for corner cutting. Sorry for interrupting there, Jeff. No worries. The Inters are going to be a little bit hot on the track, as it's not really that wet yet, as he's sliding around turn 1 already. And OWR also goes on to the Inters. Not the only driver on the Inters. However, is it really worth dropping these positions just for the different tyre compound? Maybe to serve a penalty or two, but is it really going to be worth it? Are you really going to gain around 20 seconds of time in just 2 laps? Bilton Matt 14 seconds behind. Has he binned it somewhere, or is Marcus Melo just jetting? Villa Matt leaves a second. Shade Maps picked up a 3-second, and DRS has been disabled for the final 2 laps of the race. Although it doesn't really look like anyone is in within DRS of each other. So let's be on board with Marcus Melo at this moment in time. Nice store of ERS. Shade Maps picks up a 10-seconder for corner cutting. But like I said, penalties are going to be a big influence on today's race. Bilton very deep. Marcus Melo even very deep into the hairpin of turn 10. And just a moment, please. What, Elliot? I'm doing comms. Dad knows I'm doing comms. I'll come and watch them straight when I'm done. It's last 2 laps, like you said. Do you shut my door? Shut my door? Yeah. And a special mention for being no. And it looks like the slick tyres now really starting to affect these drivers on the last lap of the race. Sorry for the inconvenience there. Brother decides to walk in and start shouting as we see these slick tyres really starting to underperform with these last laps of the race. Going to see the drivers probably going much slower than they'd like, and Marks Mallow comes off the track and Art van der Leij unlaps himself. Probably going to be one of the last drivers to finish the race, apart from Duran, if he can catch back up to Bilton. To Marks Mallow. Jeez, names mixed up and everything, lads. This is going to be a comfortable win for Marks Mallow by the looks of it. Very early off the brakes into turn 10, but still going farther than he wants to. So we're going to see him come down through turns 11 and 12. Rentbo picks up a 3 seconder for multiple warnings. As we see the race leader coming through the wall of champions, 20 seconds ahead of P2. A very good strategy in the Mercedes garage indeed. As he comes over the line, P1 Marks Mallow. Yeah, move on to Bilton Matt now, coming down, just gone through turns 11 and 12. Coming into the wall of champions, turns 13 and 14. Coming over the line in P2, the McLaren driver who's in the Alpha, Bilton Matt. And as we see a couple of the lapped cars finishing off now, Dark coming through the wall of champions now. Disconnected earlier in the race, but he managed to join back. And coming over the line in P3, Dark, the Alfa Romeo driver. Very good for the Alfa team today, but obviously one of them not really being an Alfa driver. Atmos comes over in P4. Looks like Luis Ferrand is going to come over in P5. Followed by these intermediate drivers, as we only have a few more people out on the track today. Vishesh retired. So a shame to see, really. Would have been nice to see him finish his first race filling in. And that looks like everyone has just finished the race. And we give him a round of applause. P1 Marks Mallow, P2 Bilton Matt, P3 Dark, P4 was someone else. Give me a minute. P1 Marks Mallow, P2 Bilton Matt, P3 Dark in the Alfa Romeo, P4 Ferrari Atmos, P5 Luis Ferrand, Toro Rosso, P6 Art van der Leij, teammate coming in P1 today. Mercedes had a very good day. P7 Williams, Rentbo, P8 Durant. The McLaren, his teammate coming P2, so once again a very good day for them too as well. P9 Sanath, P10 Philip Marshall, very good for the Renault drivers to pick up some points. P11 Shane Mouse, a shame he didn't get into the points today, but we congratulate him. Blue 14 coming in P12. Vishesh coming in P13, DNFing. And Louis Bondevine also DNFing. Luis Coel P15, didn't DNF, but a bit of a slow ride. Villamat P16, Ross P17, Sonic Hawk in P18, and Georgios Galano in P19. And I am going to take the stream and end it here. Thank you all for watching.